All right, welcome to our front three deadline day transfer window special. You got myself, Big Will, Coach Dan, and of course the prodigy himself, AJ, who's still with the front three. There's still a few hours left. Anyone want to claim him? We got us some
I
top
listen. A few
big
offers have
money.
come to the table. Obviously, I got to do what's in the best interest of the club that I'm currently at. Obviously,
Fair
if I'm going
enough.
to make a move, I need you guys to be financially good. So, yeah, I've knocked back a couple offers, but obviously there are a couple hours left. You never know what can happen. The Saudis might come in with a big dot, with a big bucks. And then, well, who can deny the Saudis?
Yeah, yeah. Coach, fancy going off to the Saudi Pro League?
I'm yet to receive any offers for AJ, so he's with us for the time being, guys.
It's a good thing your name is Coach, not Agent. But anyway,
All right, so let's actually start with some of the headlines from today's sort of movements in the transfer window, at least here in terms of the Premier League. So a couple of big stories, but let's start off with the biggest one. I think it hasn't happened, but it's something that could happen very soon. Liverpool rejecting £100 million plus more from El Ittihad for Mohamed Salah. What do we make of that story?
why don't we go to Liverpool's number one fan, Coach
Yes.
Dan?
I appreciate that. Boys, it's like I said before in the chat. That's the price or the amount that's being spoken about in the rumors. I will take that for Mo Salah, his age. I'll take that. I think the only issue Liverpool have now is they're thinking perhaps it's too late in the window to let him go.
Mm,
And 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 seeing how their transfer window has gone in some of the big hitters that they've gone for and not been successful with. You think about early on with Jude Bellingham, and of course that whole circus with Salcedo. Maybe the fans might not take to that news so well. But
Yeah.
if you're asking me, I think Liverpool in a position where they can let Mo Salah go. People might think he's such a big personality at the club. I agree. What does he bring to the team? Goals. I think Liverpool's got enough. Scoring goals has never really been an issue for them. And so that's why I think that money coming into the club, it's a will do phenomenal things maybe in the next transfer window or whatnot. But but it also makes sense if they decide to keep him because of the fact that they're willing to pay that much. I think if not in January, even in the new season next year, they could still come and they will still have the upper hand in selling it. Maybe it won't be 200 or 150, but
Mm,
it will still be 100, which is still a lot of money for a player his age.
mm. AJ, are you surprised that it's taken this long for the bid to come in for Salah?
nah, it's just transfer genius. Look, Coach mentioned it. Salah's what, 31, I believe he is. He's got next year. He enters into the final year, or he's got a year left on his contract at Liverpool. So for Liverpool, it's a difficult position to be in. I think we know that the Saudis have money. We know that Al Ittihad have money. They could have bid early. They could have bid in the middle of it. But I think they're bidding now to test Liverpool's resolve. At the end of the day, 100 plus million for a 31-year-old who is about to now go into another year in his con and only have 1 year left. I mean, you'd want to take the money. I think Liverpool's stance is possibly they can't. They don't think they can get a replacement in. But to be honest, with all that money, you just go and get Rafael Leao and you slap it down and you test Milan's resolve as well. For me, that's what I'd do anyway. But then you look at how valuable Salah is to Liverpool, not just his goals, but his assists. And he's kind of like, he is their mercurial man. They look to him in big games. They look to him in smaller games. For me personally, I think, the Saudi team are trying to force Liverpool's hand a bit. It's a great bid. Personally, I'd accept it. I'd accept it today, get it signed, and then I'm going straight for layout. I'm rattling AC Milan. I'm rattling them because if I look at the profiles across Europe who can come in and fit in and do what Salah does and be good in the final third, be young enough and, be there for longevity, Rafael Leao for me, but Liverpool won't accept it. And I think for Salah, it's a win-win for him anyway. Another year in a Prem, another year in which he'll probably get into double figures with goal and assists and potentially win a trophy. And then next summer, he has a decision to make. Does he stay at Liverpool or does he go over to Saudi Arabia, earn amazing money and wind down his career from there? So for Salah, I think it's a win-win. Personally,
Absolutely.
Liverpool,
Yeah.
yeah, it's all right. But I think if the bid, and also if the bid would have come in earlier in the window, it would have. I think it would have sparked a whole back and forth between all the Saudi teams and stuff like that. And I just don't think that would have been necessary. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So yeah, man, But if 60 million bid came in, towards the end of this now, oh my brother, I'll accept it fast. January, break the bank for Leao, and then build a new nucleus from there.
And of course, there's still about 7 more days to go in terms of the Saudi Pro League wrapping up their transfers in comparison to us here in Europe. Let's move to some of the other storylines from today. So we've got Manchester United agreeing deals for both Reguilon and Amrabat. These are loan deals. We've got Cole Palmer joining Chelsea, Man City signing Wolves, Nunez, Tottenham agreeing a 45 million fee for Johnson from Nottingham Forest, and Ansu Fati joining Brighton on loan from FC Barcelona. Coach, which one of those do you want to just talk about in a minute or two?
Well, I think perhaps the United ones interest me a little bit more. I get, with the injuries happening to their fullback in their fullback position, they've had to almost sort of scurry to try and get someone in. I think Reguilon was only 3 years ago that he was really good in a Tottenham
Spurs.
team. Yeah, exactly. And it just seems with the change of managers, it seemed like no one fancied him. And he went back to Spain. He's come back and he can't get into that Tottenham team, which I think is a shame because I think he's got real quality. And so for United to have got him on loan, I think that's a great addition to the team. I think he brings such great attacking threat down the left. So a big plus with that. Amrabat, yeah, we've seen little bits and bobs of him. That shows he's got perhaps what's required to play at the high level. But I don't know if United is a team where he can handle sort of the whole pressure and demands that come with a club like United, and especially them wanting to challenge some of the best teams in the EPL right now. I don't know if he will cut it, but you have to be fair to anyone that comes into a new club, the opportunity and the chance for him to show what he can do. And I think time will tell us. I think Reguilon, he knows the league, good. Amrabat, still question mark. I don't think he's going to play as much. They'll probably deploy him just like they done with Sabitzer last year. But then if that's what you're going to do, as a loan at the end, you're going to have to send him back anyway, just like they done with Sabitzer. And so for him himself, I don't know if that was a smart move. But when a club like United comes calling, no matter what time of the day, you pick up the call and usually you want to join them. And that's what seems to have happened.
Interesting. AJ, Cole Palmer, Ansu Fati, Johnson, which one do you want to go for in terms of some of these deals that are
I'd love to touch on all of them. Johnson, number one, an inflated figure, a hugely inflated figure, but I think he will fit into what Ange wants to do at Spurs. He offers a bit more pace, he offers more directness. And to be fair to him, his numbers last season weren't too bad. So it'll be interesting to see how he fits into that Spurs team, especially with the quality of Maddison in behind him as well. I think it's one to look at. Ansu Fati, I read earlier that this could be another Bojan to Stoke. And it made me chuckle because, we know he's a wonder kid. We've seen his talent, but he's had some bad injuries. He wasn't able to break into the Barca team. And then he's been on the periphery, even though they got rid of Ousmane Dembele, there was no guarantee of him playing, which is a bit of a worry, which means that, what has happened in between him getting injured and coming back? Has he lost something that they're not believing him as much? Of course, someone might turn around and say, well, the fact that it's just a loan deal means that they still believe in him. But then my question is, why could he not play at Barca this season? These are all little debates that have been going on. I think because of the type of team he's coming into, I think he will do well. But I just think it will be a matter of time. Of course, coming to the Prem is difficult. He'll have to adapt. He'll have to get up to the pace of the Prem and the physicality of the Prem. So it will be interesting. But I think he's a great talent. So I'm excited to see him at Brighton under De Zerbi, under a manager who likes for his wingers to play with freedom, to attack half spaces, to go in behind. And so, and Brighton play great football, and Ansu Fati is a great footballer. So I think it's a good match. I just hope it doesn't turn out to be a Bojan at Stoke.
Cole Palmer, coach, you want to talk about Cole Palmer to Chelsea? I mean, why did
This
City
one
let him
blows
go?
my mind. This one, madness.
Well,
Anyway.
I think the way AJ started it is pretty much what most people will be feeling towards that purchase. I mean, I was looking at that and I think Chelsea perhaps is the first signing that I've seen a consistency. So they went after Elise, who's a left-footed guy who can play out on the right, and they were
Yeah.
unsuccessful with that. And then they've gone for Cole Palmer, which tells me perhaps they had like a profile that they needed to go after. So once they didn't get their first target, they've gone for the second target. So in that sense, I'm not so critical of Chelsea as such, because Chelsea's going to be Chelsea. You know, they're just going to go after everyone, right? So you leave them be them. But for Cole Palmer, it's a bit of a surprise thing for me. You know, it goes to tell you guys, look, these clubs are operating in a certain way where they're testing players' loyalty, and it seems to me in the present moment none of them have loyalty. But then again, why would they? Because these clubs will use these players to their benefit when they need to also.
Yeah.
And so,
I don't know though, because he's had such a great start to the season.
Precisely.
So it's almost like, so that's why it baffled me, because it looked like, okay, this could be the year in which he actually has a chance to play more for City, a year where he can stamp his authority in that team and on the Prem. And the last 3 games, I think he was either had a goal or assist. So he started the season so well. So then to make that move, it's one that till now it still baffles me. I get Chelsea had a certain profile they were looking for, but if he's moved because of he didn't think he'd get in the City side, but then Chelsea are stacked on the wings. Unless Chelsea have told him you're gonna have a starting position in the 10, then that's the only thing. Because on the right, you've got Sterling, you've got Mudryk. On the left, you've got Madueke. It's stacked. So anyway, it's an interesting one. It's just one that baffles me.
He's got pure quality, and so in whatever happens, Chelsea's bought into a player that they're going to reap, I think, in the future, loads of rewards from. Hopefully, you would hope that he can start and play matches for them. I don't know how many games he's going to play. You've just gone through the list of players that they have playing in the wide areas. Chelsea don't really play with that man in the hole, especially if they're going to play with that formation that they've started off with. I don't think going forward.
Remember, Nkuku's coming back as well from injury. Where is he going to fit in?
Precisely. So it's a bit weird, because you look and you're thinking, who are your advisors? At such an age, you leave arguably the best manager in the system of you playing with freedom and really showing and bringing to the forefront what you can do as a youngster. We saw him in the Super Cup, and he was very good. Then again in the Community Shield, very good. And to have made that move to Chelsea, it just baffles my mind.
But then, coach, how much say do players actually have in these transfers? If Chelsea come in with a bid to Man City, say 45 million, Man City go to Cole Palmer and say, well, we've received this bid from Chelsea, we want to accept it. If you're Cole Palmer, what can you do? What do you do at that stage?
You can say, I don't want to go. They can't kick you out. That's the thing. That's why coach's question is relevant. Who are their advisors? Because a club can accept money for you, but you don't have to go.
And I guess personal wages or whatever is already agreed even before the transfer's agreed. So yeah, you're right, coach, in terms of
so I even think, right, yes, they might have matched this evaluation, right? When you've come out of the club, there's compensation and stuff that you need to pay depending on your contracts and stuff like that. And so let's say they've asked, they've put forward that amount, and City have accept, or well, City want to accept that. I don't know if City were willing to let a player of that quality at that age go. I get it if it's a player in their 28, 30s, you've got something out of them, so you can let them go for the amount. But at that age, I don't imagine City were trying to push him out. I don't think so at all. But these players want to be playing football, and the money that Chelsea is offering players, he probably will never get that at Manchester City. And one point as well that I wanted to make, so we look at a player like Foden, right? Foden's been in that City fold for a long time, and he's shown great quality. No one can sit and tell me Foden is a starting player for City, because he's not. He plays the game or two, then he's off. So maybe he's looking at them thinking, no matter how good I am, maybe I'm just not going to be.
True.
Foden is not a starting lineup for Manchester City, and he's pure quality. So you go make decisions for your career. I mean, I'm looking at his age right now. I don't think it's the right one going to Chelsea, just because there's so much. It's just unstable at Chelsea right now. All these players that they've signed and put them on big contracts, statistically, right? Numerical statistics, they're not all going to be success. They're not. It's just a fact. Because you can only 11 players, and if they're playing good, you need to consistently play them. That means other people are going
miss
to
out.
Miss out, precisely. So that's the thing that I'm looking at. City doesn't have a massive squad this year. So you can imagine, and they're playing in every competition. And not only that, they'll go far in every competition. So you're going to play football matches.
But then I guess he's saying, well, if they're bringing in Jeremy Doku, they're bringing in Nunes from Wolves, Cole is thinking, where's my place in City?
Well, bro, but look at it.
His place is out on the right side.
Because Sterling's gone. Nunes is going to play in the middle of the park. Doku coming in will probably operate from the left anyway. So they're still, and Foden, most games he's actually been deployed in the hole, and then he might move out wide when they change it a bit. So I don't know, man. This one, I don't know. For me, it stinks, man. It stinks.
Yeah, I think if I'm judging the transfer, I'm judging him, the Cole Palmer, and his advisors. I think it was a bit too early in his career for him to have gone.
Especially when you've finally been playing games and you're doing well. Like it doesn't. I don't know, man. If this was last season, later, bye. No, I won't even blink. Because really, but I don't know.
Time will tell. Time will tell. He's a great talent, and I hope it works out for him. Because ultimately, you want good players to reach their potential. Just because it makes the competition that much better to watch when there's great quality around. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see.
Definitely. Just one quick one from Europe, AJ. I know you love this player. Kolo Muani is now about to join PSG. So you've got Mbappe.
Well, it's still a bit up in the air, isn't it? It's still a bit up in the air. It's still a bit up in the air, but I think it'll be a great move for him. I think obviously we've seen the departures at PSG. We've seen that they're trying to do something different. They're signing a younger, more profile of players. They're trying to build a better nucleus of young players who will play a good level of vibrant attacking football. They've got a great manager in Enrique who knows how to get his teams to play football, dominate possession, and score bucket loads of goals. So I think for him, it'll be a great move. I know that he's very keen on the move himself. I think there's just a few things that PSG need to sort out in terms of getting offloading one player before being able to bring him on board. But I think for him, it'll be a great move for him, a great step in his career. And I think he'll score goals there. I think him and Mbappe, that's scary season if it goes through.
Yes, indeed.
But I'll be very, very happy. I'm very, very
happy. Yeah. So we know transfer deadline day is always very exciting, very unsurprising, or surprising stuff always happens. But let's go back to some of the earlier transfers during the summer. And let's actually look at some of the bigger signings we've had in Europe this summer. So we've had Caicedo going to Chelsea for about 110, 115 million. Declan Rice going to Arsenal for 100 million plus 5 million add-ons. Jude Bellingham to Madrid. Kane to Bayern. Neymar to Al Hilal. Gavidal, of course, to City. Havertz, etc., etc. So lots of big money signings. You guys have seen the list. Top 10 signings so far in terms of numerical value. Which ones do you think will work out? Which ones do you think will not work out? You can just pick a few from the list.
Jude has already worked out. The guy is different, man. The guy is different. And I've been actually watching the Real Madrid games because of him. And he's already stamped his authority there, So Jude, I think, is one that's what is going to work. I think he's such a great player. He's slotted in so nicely. And the guy, listen, the guy can go on to achieve whatever he wants to achieve. The mentality, the application, and then the talent is just different. It's just different. He's cut from a different cloth, and I'm happy he got that move. I think it would have been great to see him in the Prem at Liverpool, but I think he made the right decision in going to Real. Harry Kane, Bayern. Well, the guy's already slapping in the goals.
It's like eggs and bacon, in it? Just eggs and bacon.
They just go together. It's like bread and butter. Just go together. I mean, I think obviously early in the transfer window, when you heard that, you know, he was keen on the move, I think a lot of us were like, yeah, it's going to happen. It's only a matter of time, you know, because, yeah. In some ways, I'm disappointed because then why did you push for the move to City the year before? That would have been something to behold. But I think it'll work at Bayern. He's got great players around him, electric players in Gnabry, Kingsley Coman. These guys are guys who have won things as well. So I think that it's in a good and great environment for Harry Kane to go in and thrive. And I hope he actually wins some trophies this season because he needs to. He needs to. But yeah, I think him to show this ambition so late in his career is a bit upsetting on a personal note for me. As a striker who wants to see another striker do well and get the accolades they deserve. But he's still got a few good years left in him. So hopefully, you know, I think he'll work for him at Bayern. Tuchel's a great manager as well. There's rice at home, baby. That's what I'm going to say. That's what I'm going to say. I'll leave the Caicedo Wild Wild West thing to coach because it even gives me migraine just thinking about it, man. That thing. Yeah.
Well, I think if your question is which ones are going to work, I think, not even I think, the evidence shows that the ones that AJ touched on, with Jude, Harry, those are working already because they're scoring goals.
Yeah.
Jude Bellingham being the first Englishman to have ever won Player of the Month in La Liga. It blows my mind.
Yeah.
David Beckham couldn't do it. Bell couldn't do it. Owen Hargreaves couldn't do it.
I was thinking that he never won it, but Jude has gone there and done it in the first month, which tells you everything.
Well, guy.
How well he's doing there. Although I think La Liga as a campaign or as a brand,
the level
isn't where it used to be, far from it. And Jude is one of the biggest things there right now.
Yeah.
And
it's a chance for him, coach, to become the face of La Liga potentially, you know.
Now Vinny's injured.
I think right now is sort of like between him, Vinicius, Pedri, these youngsters to really lift the league. So all the credit to him. In regards to sort of, let's say, Rice and Salcedo, I'm not too worried about them because I think they're players with pure quality. And not only that, they've moved across the border.
The league. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I just think it's just a matter of time. But we live in a world where after 30 minutes, you've not scored 6 goals from centre back. You're not good enough. It's becoming a problem.
Yeah.
and so that's the only thing that people have got to be a bit mindful of. You look at a team like Arsenal, right? They've got their business done early, and Declan Rice was one of their main targets, and they've got him in, and they're trying to fit him into the team, and they're trying to actually do different things with their team. And so things hasn't clicked as well as it could do, but we also know how well they've done last year with that system. They could revert back to them and be okay, right? And then you've got Salcedo, he's joined a Chelsea team who are still building. I think, was it Michael Owen? I don't tend to subscribe to a lot of what he says, but I look at Fernandes next to Salcedo, and Fernandes, I think it's so good. He's technically so good, it's ridiculous.
Bro, the guy's a baller.
He is level. The
guy's a baller.
When you spend that much money, when someone spends that amount of money, you're thinking, I don't know, man. Yeah, I know he's good, but really that much money? But he is value for money, man. He's so good. Watching him is just, it's so brilliant to watch. And so I think they're gonna click. Time. Salcedo is going in there. Their last game, they done really well. They were able to get the machine moving. And so give them time and that will go through. One, and I suppose lastly would be Vardiol moving to Manchester City. And it's mainly for me and Nunes and all these kind of guys. I think for me, it's just a praise to Pep Guardiola in the way he's able to always identify who we want, usually a season before the closing one, and gets the job done. To me, they run in a weird way where they are to blame for a lot of this inflation that's going on, because it's almost as if they don't negotiate. They go in there, listen, we've got no time. How much do you want for the player? Okay,
cool. Yeah, but coach, it's either you operate like that or you do a Liverpool and Chelsea. Chelsea before they went, oh yeah, stab it down, yeah. Then they started thinking, oh, financial fair play. So the Caicedo thing was a massive example of, guys, just give them what they want and let's move. Do you know what I'm saying? But that's why City, I respect the way they hustle. It's straight.
Yeah, and one thing that I find bizarre is you take someone like Haaland last year and Vadio this year. See, we're the only teams that were really interested in those players. I find that so bizarre.
Do you know what I think it is? I think the players had already had contact with them already and was decided on City. Does that make sense? So all other clubs, when they go to inquire, they get knocked back like the players already.
Because these days, personal terms are always agreed before even the transfer.
Before, yeah. So
it's true, but to me, that's nothing new. Like we had Mudryk joining Arsenal last year, but then at the 11th hour, he got offered so much money, he went to Chelsea. We had the same thing with Salcedo. So it's a bit bizarre. I just thought, there should have been a bidding war, but there weren't. And credit to Pep Guardiola. And this is one thing, right? I don't know if this is a bit off topic, but it's around the whole of transfers, so I don't think it is as such. So you look at a team like Liverpool, and I think AJ, it's you that mentioned, it's you that mentioned they're going through a transition. That word is quite bizarre. And I've noticed with Pep Guardiola, the reason why he's never sort of like under the cautious course, he never allows his team to get into a place where they need to be transitioned. Right?
Yeah.
So he could have a player like Cancelo playing good for the first half of the season. Come January, we don't fancy him no more because he's not thinking long term. So we've got to get rid of him. Or you've got Yaya Toure in there, who's been a master and a monster in that midfield. He comes in and it's like, we've got to move on from him and all these kinds of stuff. And he's just constantly revolutionizing his team and whatnot. And it makes him such a fierce competitor because he doesn't allow his team to get to a point where they're overly reliant on a player or two. And it's just like, once they leave, we're trying to sort out what we do. And he is so good at that. And I think that's why with his transfers, I'm so happy. Not so happy. It's just a joy to watch. And it's crazy because it's just transfers. But the players that he's brought in, you take Matheus Nunes, I think he's a top footballer. A player that I think Liverpool could have gone for, but they didn't.
Bro.
Mo Salah is looking really good. He's someone that has really impressed me.
Yes, I think not to even touch on McAllister because he's moved within the league. But Salah has come in and he's just hit the ground running. Very, very top player.
He's looked like he's played for Liverpool for years, isn't it?
Precisely. In fact, in the midfield.
I think AJ just received a call from the Saudi.
Yeah.
Mate, got a big call. Big call just came in, lads.
Tell them to send an email. What was I saying?
We only do phone calls here. Business.
In the midfield, he's been a real star, and it just seems like he's just gonna go. Is the trajectory just upwards and forwards for him? But I was speaking about Nunes and let's say Kovacic. He's lost Gundogan, and you guys knew what I was saying about Gundogan the year just before he left. They've replaced him with two players. Maybe that's just what it takes, right? And of course, with KDB's injury, those two have come in and they will work it out. And so I just like how he's able to identify and get the deals done at the time that it needs to be done. And no player is overly relying upon. Yes, there are the exceptional strikers and playmakers like KDB and Haaland. But if they were to not think long term, I'm sure he'll let them go and he'll find a solution because he just always does. And that is keeping him above the rest when it comes to this part of the game. So great transfers for him. Diol, you've seen in his last few games, he's able to step into the midfield so well with the ball. And what he's able to knock a pass from where he is into the final third is brilliant to watch. And again, that's what I was saying. I find it quite surprising that not a lot of people were competing with C for that.
Any of these? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I'm wrapping up anyway. When you're Manchester City and you're doing what you've done last year, hardly anyone wants to go toe to toe with you because you are the dog's bollocks, at least for the meantime.
Exactly. We've talked about Caicedo, Rice, they're going to be a success. Jude already is a success. Kane, etc. You've talked about Gvardiol as well. Any of these players you think won't work out? I mean, Kai Havertz is one which already, Arsenal fans are already tearing their hair out in terms of, this is the next Ozil, but without the assist and playmaking. I mean, quick words, 30 seconds, a minute on Chai Havertz, as you like to call him.
Yeah, look. So here's the thing, right? He's not doing anything that I didn't expect him to do. We've seen him in his time at Chelsea. I think that's what really surprised people in the fact that why did Arsenal go for him? Of all the players that they could have gone for, because previous seasons ago, Maddison was a player that was being spoken about, and he was cheaper than ever before. They didn't go for him. So I think that's what the surprising element of the whole, of the whole transfer is. But he's not doing anything that I wouldn't have expected him to do. That being said, though, there's only 3 games into the season. And this is the point I was making earlier on. You've got to give the guy and the club time to find a way for him to work within the system. Yes, it's true. There's a degree of Arsenal overly compensating for him to do well, and he's not. And that's a problem right now for them. It might just be sometimes you got to take him out. I know you spend good money on him. You got to remove him from the starting lineup. And who knows, that might be the change that you need to start hitting the heights that you were last year. But that's a decision that they've got to make. Look, my last thing about this guy, it seems wherever he's at, people fancy him. So he must really have pure talent.
Something, yeah.
He's just not.
You can tell he's got pure talent, yeah.
Yeah, he's just not managed to show it yet at a consistent level. Let's give him time. At least at Arsenal, he's only been there for 3 games, right? Not like 3 years at Chelsea. But
yeah, for sure. Last one then, gents. Last question for you guys. Biggest winners, biggest losers in the transfer window.
Mate, Everton are getting relegated. You don't sell your best player in the Iwobi to Fulham. What are you doing? It's a great move for Fulham and Iwobi, by the way. Great move. He comes in, he slots in. Wherever you put him across the front 3, he'll do a job. And he's got quality. Everything about Everton just baffles me. Just the striker they signed, big target man. I get it. He scored the other night. Cool. But everything else, brother. Everton, I don't know, man. Forest have made some very, very good signings, by the way. Very
Tavares,
good.
You like that one.
Tavares is a great one. Gets him off my wage bill, mate. Thank you. See ya. But they've signed him. He's a good left back, whether we like it or not. And also they've got Callum Hudson-Odoi in for 4 million, I think it is, which is a bargain for a young English talent. You know, they didn't add the English tax to him, did they? And he's got experience of the league, so he will slot in very well. So obviously they lose Brennan Johnson to Spurs. Bless you, coach. They lose Brennan to Spurs, which is a huge loss. However, with the signing that they made, I think Forest, I don't understand where they get the cash from, number one. But anyway, we'll see how financial fair play deal with them, because there's some dodgy things going on with their books, 100%. But you look at teams like Luton, who are now trying to get Lokonga in on loan. They've signed Ross Barkley. You don't buy these ball players, but you still crash the ball 60, 70 yards, and you still play long ball. Like, doesn't make sense. So it's interesting. This window has been one of the most chaotic windows I think I've ever experienced personally. Just some weird moves, just some moves that don't make sense. And I don't think we're done with these weird moves. But yeah, I think the big winners finally got their act together. Liverpool getting in.
Yeah, they were my big winners as well.
Yeah, the 3 midfield signings, top tier signings.
You like Ryan Gravenberch, yeah?
He's a baller. And the craziest thing is about him is, you know the guy is good, when he moved to Bayern for 18 million, did not complete 190 minutes in the Bundesliga, but get sold for 40 million plus. That's how you know he's got something. That in itself tells because think about it. You signed him for 18 million with a plus a few add-ons. He never completes a 90 minutes. But you can suddenly sell him for 40-something million, nearly 50 million. That means that he's got something. So I think, for me, Liverpool are one of the biggest winners in the window. Coach, I heard you touching up on Havertz, Arsenal. I think Arsenal, it just needs to gel and click, and they'll be big winners. Man United's deals, not filling me with any hope. I think they'll be one of the losers in this window. Just panic bought Reguilon, panic bought Amrabat. It's not given. But
Ramses Højlund, you're not fancying him?
Mate, I haven't even seen him run. He's been injured since 2 games.
We'll see him this Sunday.
We'll see him against Arsenal, yeah.
According
But
to
don't worry,
Seven
my
Ten
Rolls
Hag,
Royce, Saliba is in the building. You joking, man? You joking? But yeah, so I think, yeah, Chelsea will be winners eventually with the window that they've had. 100%.
well, they've got no choice. 1 billion in 3 transfer windows,
bro. And the thing is with Chelsea, and I said this, I'll say this again. The talent that they've signed are young, hungry players, so they will want to prove a point, and they will come together. They've got a great manager. So yeah, looking at the likes of the business that Luton, Sheffield United have done, it doesn't fill me with hope. And Everton, mate, it's just terrible. West Ham have had a very good window, under the radar a bit, but they've had a very good window. They've replaced Declan Rice with 4 players, sorry, and one of them is Kudus, who is a great talent. So I'll be very excited to see how he gels into the West Ham system as well. So I think West Ham are big winners in this window as well. The way they've actually managed to spend the Declan Rice money. Many times clubs get a big fee for a player, they struggle to spend it, or it goes on paying off debts and stuff like that. But it seems as if they've reinvested that money very well into their squad. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel I'm a bit worried for Wolverhampton Wanderers. I think
Seriousness on his face.
yeah.
Bro.
I think because right now they've lost arguably their best player.
Yeah.
In that team, he didn't look match, although he was very good in certain parts in games, but they've lost their best player. And I just don't see how they're going to survive. They've still got a very good team. I think at the back they're weak, but they've still got a very good team to see out the season. But I'm looking at them now, they've not brought in anything or anyone that shows me that they have ambitions to maintain their status within the league. And so I'm a bit worried about them. And then lastly, you know what? Chelsea, I know, AJ, you said they're going to be a success, but I'm looking at it holistic and I'm thinking the amount of money they spent and the amount of players they brought in, if 30% of those are successful, do we call that a successful transfer window? Because I don't think 50% of those things are going to work, right? Because they put them on long contracts and they're not going to be able to ship them. Yeah. They're not going to be able to ship them if they don't.
Well, they started shifting Ian Matson. They just sold him to Burnley. He just arrived.
No, but he's their player already. And
but at the start of the season he was playing. Pre-season he was playing. You're thinking, oh, okay, because they went to sell him, then he started doing well. Now they sold him, so I guess they're getting rid of. It's so weird, man. I don't know.
He's alone. I mean, him. I'm more talking about the players that they've got out and bought in the last this window and maybe even last as well. Thinking about January and whatnot. I'm looking at it, I don't think 50% of those are going to be a successful purchases just because there's too many of them. There's too many of them. You've got.
How can they be? If half of them, like Coach, aren't even going to see the field for that enough time? You know?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's true. It's a balancing act.
And so that for me, that's one part that I'm looking at. I'm thinking, flipping hell, man, you're such a big club. I can't understand why you let this happen to you. There was no need for them to sell, let's say, Mount, Kovacic, and Havertz all in one transfer window. And I get it, maybe they're trying to. There's like a purge going on. They're trying to exercise all these players out and bring in a new bunch. But you're asking a lot from Pochettino. You're asking a lot from him. They'll be fine because I think quality is quality. You can't deny that. But looking at the transfers, they're not all going to work. And the worst part is, no one is you can't buy someone for 100 or 88 million, like let's say Mudryk, on an 8-year contract and go and sell him for 50. That's just bonkers.
No chance.
But right now, it looks like no one even taking for 15.
No, I'd take him on a swap deal at Arsenal.
What, for Emil Smith Rowe?
Oh, let's not be silly.
Maybe
for someone like Cedric.
I think. Lastly, on behalf of Arsenal, I think for the first time in a long while, Arsenal have managed to sell a player for a decent amount of money. In following Balogun for 40 million or whatever that is.
But can I also? I don't know, Coach, because apparently we had a range in which we wanted to sell him at, and we sold him at the lower end. And if we would have sold him 2 weeks earlier, we would have got it at the higher end. So in hindsight,
that's bizarre. That's bizarre. I don't know why they wouldn't have done that. I mean, it's still a lot of money. And to be fair, when you think about someone like Brennan going
Brennan
to
Johnson,
Tottenham for the amount of money, and then Balogun, is weird. You know, it's just we tend to not respect certain things that players do and within the leagues and whatnot. You know, because people make the point, how is it that the Danish version of Haaland goes to United for that amount of money, although his numbers don't match up to Balogun, who done really well in the French league and whatnot. And this is just some of the things, but it just naturally at Arsenal, let's say, in the last couple of years, they've not been able to shift their players, and when they have, they've been getting peanuts for it. And so for a player that never really played for the first team to have been sold that much, maybe in the long term, good business. Yeah.
Good stuff. So that does it from the Front Three's transfer window deadline day special. Catch us in a few weeks' time as we look forward to an exciting Champions League group stage format. Of course, Arsenal are back in the big time.
Baby. Unbeaten in 7 years in the Champions League, man. Check the stats.
That's it. But that does it from us. See you next time.